Bangladesh has handed over the Mongla Port to China, the land that was earmarked for Indian Economic Zone since 2015. And this is not just about a policy reversal. This is an alarm bell that the security concerns for India are rising, and they are piling up nowhere else but in the neighborhood areas itself. And this also shows that how our ties with Bangladesh are rewinding, changing and reorienting, not just in terms of cooperation but on the economic ends as well. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we are going to understand that why this change of plans by Bangladesh is extremely worrisome for India. Not just in terms of diplomacy, how it is going to cost India economically and also most importantly security wise. So let us begin to understand that what exactly has happened. So as of now, Bangladesh's PM Tariq Rahman, he is on a state visit to Beijing, which is his first state visit. And in this, multiple things that have been finalized. Amongst those, two are the most worrisome things for India. So now first let us look at the things that have been finalized between Beijing and Bangladesh. So immediately after this first state visit by Bangladesh's PM, there was a proper joint statement that was released, and the first thing that you need to notice here that they have elevated their ties and now they are comprehensive strategic cooperative partners to each other. And in this very partnership, the joint statement also tells that there have been agreements on Mongla Port, Teesta River Project, industrial zones, connectivity and also defense dialogue, which will be 2+2. Now when we are looking at the two particular projects, Mongla Port and Teesta River Project, these are the two most worrisome points for India. First reason, Mongla Port. We have lost a connectivity project which was already in our pocket. Second is Teesta River Project, because this project facilitates presence of China only 80 kilometers away from the Chicken Neck Corridor. Now we will be discussing and understanding that what exactly is happening, why this is so worrisome for us. So let us begin with understanding that first thing that is being counted as a loss for India is Mongla Port, a huge connectivity project, a port development project that was present for us. Now when we look at the location of Mongla Port, you can clearly see here that how closely it is situated when we are looking at our country and what kind of connectivity it could have easily provided, the kind of presence it could have given for us in Bay of Bengal. Apart from that, this is one of the biggest ports which are present in Bangladesh. It is not only close to Kolkata but also very closely situated to Sundarbans, and as I said, this facilitates a whole gateway to Bay of Bengal. And let me remind you, right here we have Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest trade routes across the world and another important global choke point. So when we are looking at it, India was expected to develop this economic zone, and as I said, since 2015, this deal was in India's pocket. But all of a sudden, Bangladesh has handed over this project to China, and China will be responsible for modernizing it and developing the industrial zone here. Now when we look at this change, the question is, why did this happen? So we have to understand that there are two big factors to it. First, it was definitely the political developments that have happened in Bangladesh in the last year itself that have had a huge factor, but we have to look on our side as well. We are looking at this deal which was secured in 2015 under the line of credit program, and the developers were to be picked up by 2018-2022, and this project has been stalled for the longest time without land allocation itself. So we also get to see that on India's end, the deliverability also seemed in a questionable position. Apart from that, China is definitely stating that this move is not targeted towards a specific country, and Bangladesh's justification here is that they are looking for development in the right time, in the right place, and also diversification of partners. But we have to clearly understand that especially after the regime change, the protests that unfolded in Bangladesh last year, one idea that Bangladesh is very clear on, that they will not be keeping India as the only partner. Until the time we are protecting Sheikh Hasina, we don't know how our alignments will come and reconfigure in coming times. This is not the only worry, as I mentioned. The second bigger worry is this Teesta River Project in front of us. China has been given this project where there will be responsible for river restoration, flood management, hydrological forecasting, water planning, and also river dredging. Now, when we are looking at Teesta River, can you clearly see that it starts in Sikkim and after crossing West Bengal, it enters Bangladesh. And when we are talking about this facility, the Teesta Water Management Project, it is going to be very closely located to our Chicken Neck Corridor, which is a 22-kilometer wide corridor which connects mainland India to northeast India. And given the limited connectivity points, this is the only land route available to us. So, China's strategic placement right here is also concerning when we are talking about security terms, because when we are looking at the placement, this is a very sensitive border region. This will enable China to collect a lot of data, sensitive information, given where they are being positioned at. And as of now, when we are looking at India and Bangladesh, Teesta water issue is one of the biggest issues still standing between India and Bangladesh. This is where another country, another party has entered this project. That means a lot of stakeholdership might come here. And when this was not resolved, that means we are leaving a vacuum. So, this is where things get troublesome for India. Now that we have figured out that these are the two biggest problems that India can cite here, we also have to look into the implication here. It is at this place we understand that this is not just about security concerns, but also how India's presence would be impacted in Bay of Bengal. China's growing presence in Bay of Bengal and China's presence near eastern frontier and Chicken Neck Corridor is going to push the buttons and force India to be more ready, more predictive, more setting in the ways to ensure that no problems are created here. Apart from that, it is a big blow for India when we are talking about Act East policy, when we are talking about Neighbourhood First Policy. This is where we can see that these policies are probably not working out. Apart from that, this is a loss in terms of regional connectivity, the trade that could have happened there, the kind of economic boost that could have come, and this is a loss on the regional front also, because this is the way that China is expanding its footprint in South Asia. Now, this is where I want to point out two things. First, string of pearls policy. When we are looking at presence of China from mainland China to the Horn of Africa, and they are using the port-led geopolitics. So, this is where we need to be aware of that this is in addition to it, be it Hambantota in Sri Lanka, be it Gwadar in Pakistan, and others when we are talking about from mainland China to Horn of Africa. Another thing that you need to understand right here is this: how is this encirclement of India? Because when we are looking at one region, we have China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the other side we have the Trans-Himalayan Economic Corridor, the Maritime Silk Route, the port development, and all of this you can clearly see that how China is enhancing their presence not just in Indian Ocean, which is becoming the biggest theatre of the geopolitics, because US is interested, Japan is interested, Australia is interested, because this is going to be the center of geopolitics from here on when we are talking about Indo-Pacific. But at the same time, China knows that the stakes are higher and they are marking their presence all along. Now, when we have understood that how this is, even though China is stating that there is no third party being angled at through this cooperation, but we can see how that the bigger picture or the bigger motive fits in right here. But this is where we also need to look into clearly that what are we currently looking at in terms of India-Bangladesh relationship, especially when we are talking about that this is where we are seeing a huge setback. But at the same time, we have to understand that India, if they want to address the competition, that has to be done based on cooperation itself. So the areas of existing cooperation, they need to be strengthened. For example, if we are talking about economy, we have strong bilateral trade, almost $15 billion annually. India is Bangladesh's largest trading partner. India exports multiple goods including petroleum, cotton and more. Apart from that, when we are talking about connectivity, this has been the biggest point of contention also and the biggest point of cooperation also. Contention why? India does go for project, does ask for project, but the deliverability as compared to China has been offsetting. This is where China gains in the game and India loses. We have Akoda-Agartala rail link existing which will improve the northeastern connectivity. We have already the protocol on inland water transit and trade present, and we have use of Chattogram port which can facilitate trade in northeast as well. Apart from that, we can honestly focus better on electricity exports, fuel cooperation, because this is where Bangladesh might actually lean towards us in terms of help, because we have bigger examples here. We have Maitri super thermal project in Rampal, which is a flagship bilateral energy project. Then we also have India Bangladesh friendship pipeline. Can you tell me in the comment section from where to where this pipeline exists, which facilitates the transportation of diesel between these two countries? And another important factor is the security cooperation. It has been a place where Bangladesh has facilitated India a lot to help the insurgency specifically in northeast. But at the same time, challenges do exist. So we need to double down on cooperation and focus on reducing the challenges. Teesta agreement, one of the biggest problem barrier that exists between India and Bangladesh. Second, that we have political mistrust placed between both of these countries now. This is where India needs to start afresh. India needs to consider Bangladesh an equivalent and not see as a regional power and subordinates in between. And if these are well addressed, then probably the next challenge, that is the increasing influence of China, which we have already seen quantified, qualified, present in front of us, that might also be addressed. But the question is how this will be done. So when we are looking at how this will be done, there are things that India needs to keep in mind in the coming days. That is to restore the political trust. India needs to be seen as a partner of Bangladesh, not a particular partner of a particular political party. Apart from that, economically we can double down on the project. Strategically, we have to resolve the issues that are impending in front of us, and this is where the regional platforms can be a game changer for India to enhance the cooperation and resolve the issues. Because what we are looking at, it cannot be resolved through confrontation, it is to be done through cooperation. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. I'll be leaving you here with the prelims practice question. Let me know the answer to this in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your answers. Thank you so much.